One of your moments of the game brought to you by Firth Jewelers. For all the moments in your life, go forth to Firth. The other win of the day last night, the Sabres beating the New Jersey Devils. It is a football Monday here on WGR. It's Jeremy and Joe, but mixing in some hockey. I think the Sabres have earned it with 6 wins in a row. Paul Hamilton joins now on the Wester hotline on his way to Ottawa. Good morning, Paul. I think they've earned a place in football Monday with their win streak here.
Yeah, but Joe, what about you? I thought you were going to get into the finals for the second straight year, and you lose to Nate.
Don't want.
Neither one of you had a lot of points. It was right there for you.
Of course, Paul. We got double wins yesterday, and he's just ready to go with you lost in fantasy. I got smoked.
I beat you in the finals last year, so I thought maybe you were going to get back to the finals and maybe win it this year.
Yep. Big letdowns from Brissett and Trey McBride, really, Paul. That guy's been like 20 points in a bucket every week, and he's got nothing yesterday. Yeah, 90 points. Not even a good showing. He had 6 points, but he's been getting like 25. So, yeah, everyone with him would have had a tough one. 90 points isn't even really a good showing. You feel like you didn't deserve getting that far when you do that, yeah. All right, well, hopefully better luck next year for me in Paul's league.
Yes.
So yesterday, Paul, the Sabres get a 6th win in a row. I want to get to some of the management moves with you as well. Can we start in the second period? I felt like that period was one of their best periods in a long time, maybe even of the season.
And with the way the first period went, you could just tell by the Hughes goal, they looked exhausted, from playing the night before. And one of the things you see when a team is tired is they back off. And that's exactly what Kesselring did, backed off on Hughes. You can't do that with him. And then there was a flyby screen, and, Luukkonen had no chance on that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, uh-oh. I mean, Hughes just got back in the lineup, and this is happening. And, then Luukkonen made like 3 fantastic saves in the first period while the Sabres were trying to get their legs. And, they tie the game. Mm-hmm. And come into the second period, and then they had their legs. They played a really good second period, and it's like, okay, they're fine. I mean, I guess they just had a bad start. They don't look to be exhausted or tired or anything like that, and they played a pretty good third. I think they maybe did get a little bit tired in the third period. Luukkonen, like in the second period, Luukkonen really wasn't busy. He didn't have to make any bell-ringing saves. The third period he did. But he was up to the task and made the big save when he was asked to. And, they finally, get the goal to get ahead that you just heard by Benson. And Benson showed why he has scored goals on every level on that particular goal. I mean, to walk in on the 2-on-1, and they have the scouting report on Benson. Allen was cheating, and he knows that Benson almost always passes. Mm-hmm. So he's thinking, all right, he's going to go across to Quinn. And if a pass gets across to Quinn, it's probably a layup, but maybe not because Allen was cheating. And Benson, looked it off and took the shot, scored the goal, and now he has 3 goals in 5 games. So the jury's still out on this youngster, whether he's going to be able to score goals in the National Hockey League. All I can tell you is he's scored goals on every level he's ever played in, and he's still very young, even though this is his 3rd year in the National Hockey League. So, but that kind of talent and that kind of play just shows you the kind of offensive savvy, do you want to maybe call it, that he has. And then look at the hustle Krebs. Krebs takes a lot of grief from everybody because that was the open net goal was his first goal of the year. There's so many other things he does. And if you take a look at his analytic numbers on the line with Thompson, they are very good when he's on that line. And because there's other things that he does. I mean, he's always going. He's always going to be in the fight. He's always going to be in front of the net. He's always going to be battling along the wall. He just doesn't seem to have a lot of luck trying to score goals or whatever. But Thompson goes for the empty net, misses it, and Krebs just takes off like he was shot out of a cannon. He beats Luke Hughes to the puck. Not only does he negate the icing, but now he's got an open net to put the puck in for his first goal of the year. So. It's efforts like that help you win hockey games. That maybe people don't notice that effort, and I still get the why is Krebs on the team? Why is he on this line? And it's people who really don't understand what the analytic numbers are or what he actually brings to a team. Plus, they're injured. I mean, they don't have depth in their top six. So, okay, if Krebs isn't in there, who do you want? Dunn? Or would you rather have Melanstein? Or who do you want up there? I mean, it's just they don't really have depth on the top six with Zucker out and Kulik out and those guys. So it wound up being Krebs. But if you really take a deep dive into it, he hasn't played poorly on that line.
Yeah. In goal, Paul, you mentioned that Luukkonen made a couple of big saves, that glove save especially, and they had been rolling with Lyon for a while. Like, Luukkonen had not won since I think it was December 1st. So to get a couple of goalies to both give you good starts here, I mean, maybe they start to get into a natural two-goalie rotation with these two going forward, especially if, you hope that one gets hot. But if you can get two guys playing well in net going forward, I mean, that's how you start to climb your way back into the standings. Because they're going to have an off night. Like, they've played really well, I think, on almost all 6 of these wins. But they're going to have an off night. And I feel like the way Lyon has been playing, and maybe UPL too, that they could steal one.
Well, they had the half off night against Philadelphia. And then they kicked it in about midway through that game. And then they took over, and Philadelphia then had the off night. But you're right. And the thing is, I would not have done it the same way Lindy Ruff did, but that's the reason he's the head coach and I'm not. I would have looked at, all right, we got to play Luukkonen at some point here. It's back to back. I would have put him in the home game because his goals against at home is like 1.99, and he hadn't won on the road. And his goals against on the road was something like 3.97, and he was 0-4-1. But Lindy Ruff looks at it differently. He looks at Saturday's game, and he looks at one game and says, who gives us the best chance to win this hockey game against the New York Islanders? And he decided it was Alex Lyon who was on a roll. Puts him in, Lyon wins in a shootout. So, he turns out to be right there. Then it's all right. He's not worried about the Sunday game. Now, okay, it's time to worry about the Sunday game against New Jersey. Lyon had a lot of work in the Islander game. Back-to-back probably wouldn't be a good idea since he's now played, 5 straight games, I believe, or 6? Mm-hmm. And so we need to get somebody else in there. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen goes in, even though he hadn't won on the road, because Ruff again says, who gives us the best chance to win a hockey game tonight against New Jersey? Is it a rested Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, even though he hasn't won on the road, or is it maybe a fatigued or tired Alex Lyon? And he goes with Luukkonen. Luukkonen performs extremely well as the number 1 star of the game. Again, Lindy Ruff was right in the way he did it. So, plus the team finally seems to be saying, you know what, let's do it Lindy Ruff's way. You know how hard-headed these guys can be and have been over the years. And even this year, they still at times want to do it their way. And these last 6 games, especially with the lead in the third period, they're playing the way Lindy Ruff wants them to play. They don't make wild plays to cause the turnover and then winds up in your net. They take care of the puck, and they've been able since the Seattle game to hold on to 1-goal games 5-on-5. The only time they didn't was on Saturday when it became a 6-on-4. And that's when they got tied because of the dumb penalty and the 6-on-4. 5-on-5, they had gotten through the whole period protecting the 1-goal lead. So that's one of the things they have gotten much, much better at. And they just seem like they've decided, you know what, instead of doing it our way, maybe let's do it Lindy Ruff's way, and maybe it might work for us.
Paul Hamilton with us. Tomorrow, the Sabres are in Ottawa. We'll talk about that matchup tomorrow, Paul. Quickly on the management additions and subtractions over the weekend. So Jason Carmano's out, Marc Bergevin and Josh Flynn in. What did you think of the changes over the weekend?
Well, Bergevin, I think, is a great addition to the team, and it's something that this organization has needed for I don't know how long until they hired Kekalainen as a senior advisor. It finally appears that Terry Pagula is going to get out of the way. he didn't get out of the way for Kevin Adams. Kevin Adams, basically had to run everything by him, and Pegula would say yes or no, and maybe he handcuffed him a little bit at times. But it seems like Pegula has meeting with his advisors. They've probably it seems like maybe they've convinced him that you've got to get a rock-solid guy who has been a GM in this league. Kekalainen's been for 11 years as a GM, and you're paying him to run your hockey department. Let him run the hockey department as he sees fit. And that appears to be what's happening here. And Kekalainen has moved quickly on this to bring in a couple of guys. He brings in a guy in Flynn that, he knows from Columbus. Now, in Columbus, he did the same exact job that Marc Jakubowski, who is still here, as an assistant general manager, contracts, salary cap. That's exactly what he did. So I'm wondering what's going to happen with Jakubowski. Will he remain with the team in a different role? Will Flynn have a different role than maybe he did in Columbus, or will they just part ways with him too? So we'll see what happens with that. But it just seems like Jarmo Kekalainen is definitely in charge.
Paul Hamilton with us on his way to Ottawa. Get there safely, Paul, and we'll chat tomorrow.
Sounds good. Talk to you then.
Paul Hamilton on the Wester Hotline. The unnecessary fantasy jab at the beginning. It's fine. I earned it. Fantasy. Trying to present myself as though I am in a good mood, despite the fact that I was in 5 semifinals yesterday and might lose all 5 of them, depending on what happens tonight. But it's fine. It's fine. Sabres run a 6-game win streak. And are building like a real professional hockey department. So, not going to be mad. Not going to be mad this morning. That was a great save by UPL last night. The glove save.
Dude, yeah, I turned to my dad. I was like, that's probably the best save anybody's made for them in all year.
Yeah.
That was really, really, really good. That was, like, I give him a lot of junk. That was really good last night from Luukkonen. He was really impressive. He looked great, made a lot of really, really good saves. And I was impressed with his performance. I mean, he can play well at times. It's just I don't think it's enough to be a starter in the league.
Yeah.
He could be a backup if he finds out how to play his game that way all the time.
I mean, they're going to need somebody to mix starts in, even if Lyon is playing as well as he has.
Absolutely.
But, man, the way they played in front of him, especially in the second period last night, the Sabres at 5-on-5 outshot the Devils 12-4. Scoring chances were 13-4.
Right.
And they got their 2 goals in the second. I mean, that one period, when you're playing a back-to-back like that, getting the lead going into the third was so critical because you just feel like on a back-to-back a team's going to run out of gas.
Right.
And you got to have a lead so that you can just kind of sit on it.
Yeah, we talked about that. In the group chat, I texted like, man, they were dominating that second period, and this was before they scored. Like, they just got to score here, and they can sit on this. They did a great job on Saturday night until Kesselring took that horrible penalty.
Right.
But they did a really great job in that third period against the Islanders on Saturday, and they just needed to do the same thing again. And they did it, and it was awesome. And, man, there's good stuff happening all over with them. On the ice,
Yep.
The coaching seems to be getting through, like Paul mentioned. And, I mean, that's a real front office.
That's a professional NHL front office.
2 legit, long-time, well-respected GMs that you bring in and are ready to do some work. I don't think those 2 guys come here to work if they don't know we can do what we need to do. We're not going to have a ball and chain on our ankle here. Like we're going to get to do what needs to happen.